the recording now. There you go. And as I mentioned, vocabulary is going to be very important, so we must pay a lot of attention to it. And let's begin now. Lesson number 4. The topic is discuss how cultural changes over time. How culture, changes over time. Okay. Um, Before we start the lecture or the reading, I want to ask you guys a question. And the question is, in what ways or in what forms do you think table manners, table manners have changed since the days when your grandparents were children? That means like probably 60 years ago or something like that. But in what ways do you think table manners have changed since your grandparents were children? Can you guess of anything? Whoever you want, whomever wants to answer.
Maybe the use of the cell phones on the table.
Okay. It's very important. Yes, today it's completely normal for us to use the phone at the table, and back in the days they didn't have any cell phones. Well, that's a very good point. Maybe also the use of the, I don't know, the forks or the spoons or the knives. Maybe that hasn't changed very much, or yes, I wouldn't know, but I think the best point that I could think of was also use of technology, right? Also, maybe that back in the days they didn't have any televisions or whatever, so everyone was at the table having dinner or eating their food, and that was it. It was part of the table manners, right? One thing I could think of is when my grandparents were kids, it was very important that the father of the family or the head of the family sat first on the table and ate first the food, and then everyone else could start to eat. But no one could start to eat before the father or the grandfather would start to eat on the table. That was also, I have heard that it's tradition, or it was tradition in some places. So maybe we could include that as part of the table manners. If you started to eat before they would, you could probably be like impolite or something. But well, anyways, that's pretty much the focusing of this lecture we're gonna hear now. I want you to hear it very carefully, okay? It starts here on Today Global Culture is interviewing Eugenia Hartley of Jackson. Now, pay a lot of attention because we're gonna listen to some new vocabulary, okay? I'm gonna play this audio 2 times. I want you to listen to the main idea on the first time and then ask for questions after the second time. All right, let's go.
Dress nicely. No,
All right, I think it was
time in the jail for a new sound person.
There you go. I forgot I had already played it moments before starting the class. There you go.
Page 10. Reading. Today, Global Culture is interviewing Eugenia Hartley of Jackson, Mississippi in the U.S. about changes to culture. Ms. Hartley, culture has changed a bit since you were growing up in the 40s, hasn't it?
Oh, definitely. And maybe more so for me than for others because Jackson is in the South, which was pretty socially conservative when I was a young girl.
Please tell us about some of the changes you have personally experienced.
My heavens. Well, the New South is so different from the Old South in a lot of good ways, as everyone knows. But since you ask me personally, it would probably be dating customs, the way young people talk to their elders, table manners.
Okay. How have those things changed?
Well, for example, when I was growing up, the family dinner hour was the one time in the day when the family sat down together, and it was a special time. Today, that's changed. In many families, there is no dinner hour. Kids eat snacks or fast food all day. Moms are out in the workforce and don't have time to make a proper meal. And there are so many activities that it seems like no one has time. In my day, children were more respectful and quiet at the table. We spoke when we were spoken to. We didn't put our elbows on the table, and we dressed nicely. No one came to the dinner table in shorts or jeans the way they do today.
That is different, isn't it? You mentioned dating. How has that changed?
Well, today, I see boys and girls on dates at the mall. They can't be more than 12 or 13 years old. I wasn't allowed to go out on a proper date until I was 16. And when I finally was allowed to date, my parents didn't let me go out with a boy they hadn't already met. Oh, and I had a definite curfew. I had to be home by 11. If I came in late, I was grounded for at least a month. It was a little different for my brother, though. I guess there was a bit of a double standard. He could go out on dates when he was 16, but his curfew wasn't as strict as mine. He was allowed to stay out until midnight.
And you mentioned the way young people addressed their elders. How has that changed?
Well, today you hear teens, even children, calling adults by their first names. We had to address adults as sir or ma'am, and we always use Mr. and Mrs. I suppose that sounds a little old-fashioned today, doesn't it?
Maybe so. Thanks so much, Miss Hartley, for an interesting interview.
Thank you so much. You're amazing. Okay. Now, we're gonna listen to this one more time, but before we go there, do you have questions on vocabulary that you saw different or that you don't know what it means?
Yes.
Hmm? What is it?
Curfew. Oh,
Curfew. Okay, that's a good one. This one, curfew.
yes.
Okay. Diana, you must be back home by 11:30 p.m. Okay, not 12, not later, not anything. Your curfew is 11:30. Okay, it's like the limit of time or the specific hour that we set in the rules. Okay, you cannot be later than that, nor if you want to be before that, it's fine, but not later. That's the curfew. Okay.
Okay.
Good. Any other questions you may have? I'm gonna move, scroll down a little bit. No. If I came in late, I was grounded for at least a month. What is this word? Grounded.
Como castigada.
How can you explain that in English? When your parents.
When your parents
Mhm.
don't let you go out.
You can say don't let you go out, but when your parents won't let you go out, okay? When your parents won't let you go out, or when they want to teach you a lesson because you were in a bad behavior, okay, or you were being rude or whatever. They just maybe they told you to do the dishes and you didn't do the dishes and you got grounded or whatever it is, right?
Okay.
What is this word? Elbows. How can you describe it? I don't want to hear it in Spanish. How can you tell me this in English?
I think is the part of your arms.
Okay, very close. Is the back part of the arm.
Back.
Yes, correct.
Yes.
In the middle of the arm, right?
Yes.
Or when you don't want to pay for dinner. No, I'm kidding. That's a Mexican definition. But yes, exactly. Elbows. Good job, Jesse. Now, I think we had another one here, but I just don't seem to find it. What about this? Old-fashioned. What is that?
A drink.
You can say that, but Not necessarily. For example, when your parents, I'm just gonna make a random example out of this, right? When I was younger, when I was like, I don't know, 15 or 16, maybe not me, but I don't know. But let's put the example with myself. When I was 15 or 16, and you were a boy and you wanted to invite a girl out to the movies or whatever, you had to ask for permission of her parents. Okay, I couldn't just go and say, "Hey, let's go to the movies," right? And you go with me, and I don't care what you say or what your parents think. It's just that was not the way we did it. Okay. Now today, a lot of kids or young people, 15, 16 years old, they don't ask for permission of the parents anymore. Okay, so if a boy wants to invite a girl out, he just sends a message on Instagram or whatever, and she's like, okay, yeah, and then they go out. They don't even ask for permission. They just sometimes, right? But it happens. So if you ask a boy today to ask for permission to do that, he's probably gonna be like, why? Why would I do that? It's not necessary. I can just text her or send a message on Instagram or Facebook, and she's gonna be like, yeah, let's go out. That is because they consider asking for permission as old-fashioned. Okay, something that is not uh, something that is not part of the culture anymore, something that we don't do anymore. Okay, old-fashioned. All right. So yeah, some people today consider old-fashioned when a man talks to the parents of his girlfriend to ask for permission to marry her. Okay, some people think that's not even necessary anymore. They think that's kind of old-fashioned. So those are just examples to point out the word old-fashioned. Okay, so that's important too. I think I had one more coming, but I don't remember. Uh, I think we're gonna find it later on. But anyways, yeah, I'm sorry. This is the one. On dates at the mall, can more 20. The word dating. You know what dating means, right?
Yes.
Okay, when a boy or a girl and a girl or whatever, they become a couple. They start to go out, boyfriend and girlfriend. They're dating. Okay, or even adults, not necessarily young people. I think those are the ones I can find on the lecture. I don't identify any other specific kids eat snacks if festival moms are out in the workforce and they don't have time. Oh, kids eat snacks or fast food all day. Moms are out in the workforce and don't have time to make a proper meal. The workforce is an expression to refer to the people who are working all day. Okay, they're working um, and they're absent for long hours. They're in the workforce. All right. So, anyways, I'm just gonna go back real quick and hit play now again. Listen to it carefully because now we're gonna answer the questions, and the questions are not necessarily about this. Okay, these are open questions for you, for your opinion. Okay, for your explanation. So pay good attention to the text, and let's go.
About changes to culture. Enia Hartley of Jackson.
All right, there you go.
Page 10. Reading.
Today, Global Culture is interviewing Eugenia Hartley of Jackson, Mississippi in the U.S. about changes to culture. Ms. Hartley, culture has changed a bit since you were growing up in the 40s, hasn't it?
Oh, definitely. And maybe more so for me than for others because Jackson is in the South, which was pretty socially conservative when I was a young girl.
Please tell us about some of the changes you have personally experienced.
My heavens. Well, the New South is so different from the Old South in a lot of good ways, as everyone knows. But since you ask me personally, It would probably be dating customs, the way young people talk to their elders, table manners.
Okay. How have those things changed?
Well, for example, when I was growing up, the family dinner hour was the one time in the day when the family sat down together, and it was a special time. Today, that's changed. In many families, there is no dinner hour. Kids eat snacks or fast food all day. Moms are out in the workforce and don't have time to make a proper meal. And there are so many activities that it seems like no one has time. In my day, children were more respectful and quiet at the table. We spoke when we were spoken to. We didn't put our elbows on the table, and we dressed nicely. No one came to the dinner table in shorts or jeans the way they do today.
That is different, isn't it? You mentioned dating. How has that changed?
Well, today, I see boys and girls on dates at the mall. They can't be more than 12 or 13 years old. I wasn't allowed to go out on a proper date until I was 16. And when I finally was allowed to date, my parents didn't let me go out with a boy they hadn't already met. Oh, and I had a definite curfew. I had to be home by 11.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to point out, when I finally was allowed to date, my parents didn't let me go out with a boy they hadn't already met. Hadn't met. Past perfect. Okay? Go out with a boy they hadn't already met. Oh, and I had a definite curfew.
I came in late, I was grounded for at least a month. It was a little different for my brother, though. I guess there was a bit of a double standard. He could go out on dates when he was 16, but his curfew wasn't as strict as mine. He was allowed to stay out until midnight.
And you mentioned the way young people addressed their elders. How has that changed?
Well, today you hear teens, even children, calling adults by their first names.
Just to point out, you mentioned the way young people addressed. This is not like for a direction or a location. Address their elders. What is this? The way young people address their elders. Elder is a word we use to refer to a person who is old, okay? A third age person. My grandparents, your grandparents, they're elders, okay? People of respect. We must respect our elders. And the other word, address, is, for example, hello, my name is Mario. You can address me by my nickname, Mayito, whatever, right? This is just an example. But the point is, address is how you talk to another person, okay? How do you address your boss at work? Well, I do it respectfully. That's an example, okay? So the question is, you mentioned the way young people addressed their elders. How has that changed?
Today you hear teens, even
Go back to
until midnight.
And you mentioned the way young people addressed their elders. How has that changed?
Well, today you hear teens, even children, calling adults by their first names. We had to address adults as sir or ma'am, and we always use Mr. and Mrs. I suppose that sounds a little old-fashioned today, doesn't it?
Maybe so. Thanks so much, Miss Hartley, for an interesting interview.
okay. Sir or ma'am. Ma'am. This is an abbreviation for madam. Okay? Not madame as in French, but like madam. So in English, people say madam, madam, but then over time, okay, they were saying it a lot, like ma'am, madam, 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 and they just removed the little d sound, like the, and they just went with madam, ma'am, ma'am. So today in the movies, or if you go to the United States or whatever, and somebody wants to ask you a question, it's excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am. That's why. Ma'am comes from madam, okay? Anyway, so those were the that was the lecture. I think it's pretty clear now. Now, the questions for you start now. Draw conclusions. After answer the questions based on the reading. Explain the reasoning behind each of your answers. I'm going to give you 1 minute to read the questions because I'm going to ask you randomly a question and I want you to answer, okay? So it's 4 questions and 1 minute, check them out, read them, think of something, and then I'm going to ask each one of you. Go ahead. Okay, that's good time. Now, my mic is open, yes. Okay, Jesse, how old do you estimate Miss Hartley to be today?
I think she has 65 years old,
Okay,
more
at
or less.
least 65 years old. Okay, Christy, how old do you estimate Miss Hartley to be today?
Today,
If this story was today, how old do you estimate she is?
65.
60 to 65, okay. And I have one more person, Diana. How old do you think she is today?
Like 70.
70. Okay, so let's do the math, girls, because today's 2022. 60 years ago, it was 1960. Okay. What she's talking about, I think it's not from the 60s. It's probably for like the 40s or the 50s. Okay, so if she was alive today, I would estimate she's like 80 or 85 years old. Okay, because remember, your parents and my parents probably were born like in the 60s and the 70s. Okay, and she's talking about older experiences than that. Okay, so this exactly this what I just did, the reasoning of the question, okay, is what I want you to do. I want you to explain me why you give me that answer, okay? How to justify your answer, okay? Number 2, Christy, does Mrs. Hartley prefer the culture of the past or the culture of the present?
She prefers the past culture
Okay, the culture of the past. Why do you think that?
because the people are respectful,
Where?
respetuoso.
Respectful. You were correct. But remember, the people were
Where people were
respectful and
um,
that's what you think? She likes it because people were more respectful than today?
yes.
Okay. Nice answer. I would probably add or also say that she likes it because the traditions or the customs were more, yes, respectful, but also
And the custom. Yes.
the customs. Yes, she liked the days when she was younger. Yeah, I think the same as you. I think she prefers the past culture than today's, right? But there are always, of course, aspects of the past culture that she probably doesn't like or didn't like. For example, the curfew, um, or how she had to, um, well, I don't know, dress very properly all the time, never being shorts at dinner. We all like to go and eat some dinner at home in shorts if it's like 8:30 or 9 p.m. Nobody wants to be like super dressed for dinner, right? But back in the days, that wasn't very proper. Anyways, thank you, Christy. Question number 3, Jesse. I'm gonna go in the same order as before. Jesse, what is Miss Hartley's opinion of the change in the role of mothers?
Um, mm,
What's her opinion?
the mothers today is
Is
are more
hmm,
focused
in there?
in their jobs,
Okay. Yes.
and and the the kids are more
Mhm.
their healthy is bad
Okay.
today, and when she was young, um, had more
She had.
uh, had
She had. Mhm.
she had more
Health. I don't
uh,
know, better nutrition,
better behavior.
behavior. Okay.
She was respectful and something
Okay.
and
I
things.
give it to you. I give it to you. I like it. I like the answer. Thank you for complimenting it. I would also say that, yes, talking specifically about the mothers, she says that uh, today there's no dinner hour, okay, because mothers are very busy working all the time, and kids are eating junk food all the time and snacks. And because of that, their moms can't prepare a proper meal, okay, good food. So that's what, when she was younger, she says everyone sat at the table with proper clothes at specific time and everyone had dinner. Well, she doesn't see that anymore today. And let's go with the last question, please. Number 4, Diana. Does Miss Hartley approve of the differences in child and teen behavior that have taken place today? What do you think of this?
Um, this question is regarding to the dating.
It can be about dating. It's generally about behavior, child and teen behavior. What do you think? Does she approve the differences on the behavior of children and teenagers
Mm,
or not?
I think not.
Okay, why is that?
Mm, I don't know because I don't know what is this question regarding.
Okay. This question is about, do you think she approves or disapproves the differences in child and teen behavior that have
Uh-huh.
taken place? Okay, so when she was younger, when she was a kid, she says that, for example, we spoke when we were spoken to.
Mm,
We didn't put their elbows on the table. We dressed nicely. No one came to the dinner table in shorts or jeans. And she says, I wasn't allowed to date or to go on a proper date until I was 16. When I finally
mhm.
allowed me to date, my parents didn't let me go out with a boy they hadn't already met. So she is mentioning these comparatives about today's children or today's
Mm,
teenagers and her young or her age teenager. So the question is, do you think Ms. Hartley approves the differences in child and teen behavior that have now
um,
taken place?
I think that she doesn't
Okay, correct.
approves the nowadays behaviors.
Okay, careful. You said very, very good. I think she doesn't, and then you only have to say approve. Okay, not approves, because you
Oh,
already
okay.
said doesn't. Okay,
Okay.
but
Yes.
that's correct. She doesn't approve today's behavior. What else?
Mm, because I think that um, that the I
Mhm.
how can I say like comportamientos?
Behavior.
Uh,
Huh?
because I think that the behaviors of the past uh, was
Where?
better and like more polite.
Okay, I agree with you. The behaviors in the past were better, more polite, maybe more educated, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Mhm.
But yes, I agree. She probably doesn't approve the differences. I don't know. Maybe she does approve some, but not all of them, right? But anyways, the last thing is, how can you describe these words here? Okay, I'm gonna ask each one of you, and you tell me your answer. All right. The first one, Christy, elders. What is the meaning of this word with your own words? Christy?
Otra vez.
Okay. What is the meaning of the word elders in your word?
Anciano, como viejitos.
How can you
Viejito.
explain that in English?
Mm, um,
Think.
adu-
Huh?
they are adults.
Adults, okay.
Mayores.
Okay,
Entonces,
older people, okay.
ujú.
Older people or older adults, okay, thank you. Jesse, what do you think of workforce?
When you work a lot.
Okay, and yes, but you can complement it more. Remember the context. She was saying that the kids are uh, the kids are eating and playing all day, and she's working all day because she's being the workforce of the house. So when you work a lot,
And you don't have time for another activities that you should do.
I like it. Yes, When you work a lot, when you are a very important income or a very important part of the working activity at home, right? If you don't work, nobody else works. That's probably what it means. You're part of the workforce. You have to work. Your role is to work, okay? Because you have to provide. You have to get money, provide for the house. Okay, correct. I'm gonna ask Diana, what is curfew? How can you define curfew?
When you have a limit of time to do something.
For example, to something, you can say to something, but not necessarily for anything. It's a little bit more specific. A limit of
A limit of time when you go out, for example, and you have
okay.
to
How do
come
you
back
say
to
come
my house.
back? To what?
To come back
Uh-huh.
to my house,
To your house.
or no, no, my house.
Everyone
When I
is out.
have,
Okay,
yes,
at
when I
what
have
time?
to come back at a specific time.
Okay, that's correct. That's the best one. I liked it. It's a better one. When you have a specific hour or specific time to get back to your house or to the place where you were. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Be careful, because if you say to come back to my house, it's not wrong. People are gonna understand, but it can be like why people would want to go to your house or what's happening in your house. Okay. Next one. Christy, what's the meaning of the word dating?
Dating.
Yeah, this one, dating. Sorry. What do you think?
No
If not,
sé si sea.
in English. Try to do it in English.
No, es que.
Okay. Oh,
No,
bueno, dale.
no,
Ajá.
es que no sé qué significa.
Okay, don't worry, it's fine. Okay, so maybe Jesse, can you help Christy to understand the meaning of the word dating?
Is when one girl and one boy
Okay.
meet each other
Mm-hmm.
and go out.
They go out. Okay, so if you and I, you're my cousin. If you and I go out, we're dating. Is that correct?
No.
No. So not necessarily a boy and a girl going out. There's more.
Well, when you like someone
Okay, when you like, when you have
and you
feelings.
and you wanna know him or
her.
know her,
Uh-huh.
you or the another person invited
Okay.
to go out in a place or something like that.
To a place. Okay. I like it. That's more. It's a wider definition. So basically, is when two people, not necessarily a boy and a girl. Okay, can be whatever you want, but two people decide to like each other. Okay, they have feelings for each other, and they start to go out. They start to see each other frequently and to express love for each other. Okay, that's basically the definition of dating, without saying dating, right? Boyfriend and girlfriend. That's a good one. Thank you, Jess. Nice work. And the last one, Diana, what's the meaning of the word grounded?
When your parents don't let you go out.
Okay, why? Because they are very bad people?
No, because you didn't respect the curfew.
For example, because you didn't respect
Yes.
curfew. What other
And-
reasons can you think of to be grounded?
Because you didn't study for the exam.
Okay, because you didn't study, because you didn't listen, or maybe we can generalize this because you didn't do what your parents told you to do.
Yes.
Okay, because you did what you wanted to do and they told you not to do that and you did it anyways, and then you got grounded, right? That's a good example. I'm laughing because I'm remembering my personal experiences of when I got grounded. I will talk about those maybe later on in the future, but not today. Okay, so with these guys, we're closing lesson number 4. Now, again, I'm going to say this one more time because I think it's very important for me to say this is, as you can see, the questions are not obvious, okay? The questions are not like super simple anymore. The questions are opened. I want to hear your opinions. Now, people, girls, you listen to me talking all the time in the class. I always speak in English. Just try to start to imitate what you listen, what you hear. Just take the chance. I'm going to switch into Spanish now. A veces, ya tanto lo escuchaste que te pregunto algo y ahí lo traes. Y a lo mejor te lo imaginaste o te pasó por la mente, pero no lo dices porque te da pena decirlo mal. Ustedes díganlo, o sea, suéltenlo, aunque esté mal, a lo mejor, mira, si ya me elaboraste toda la frase y al último me dices algo en español, se vale, o sea, ya nomás lo reconfiguramos. Pero es bien importante que cuando les pregunte, aun si la respuesta es no tengo idea, me digan I have no idea, I don't know the answer, I don't know that word. Todo esto que estoy diciendo, estoy segurísimo que lo saben decir. ¿Ok? Porque si están conmigo desde el nivel 1, llevamos ya 20 unidades de inglés con 40 tópicos de gramática, que son la mayoría de los tópicos de gramática en inglés. Entonces, de que sabemos decir las cosas, sabemos decirlas. A lo mejor un vocabulario nuevo como estos de curfew o grounded o cosas que no he escuchado, está bien, esas te las valgo. Pero las frases que ya, cuyos significados ya conoces, y no solo eso, sino que ya las sabes estructurar, dilas. ¿Ok? Anímate a decirlas. Si te equivocas, siempre se lo he dicho, no pasa nada, yo les corrijo, pero díganlo, ¿sí? Suéltense. Suéltense. Muy bien. Con esto damos por cerrado la unidad número 1 completa, ¿sí? Hay un par de ejercicios que me gustaría pedirles que hagan como práctica porque les van a servir bastante. Porque el jueves, perdón, tenemos nuestro primer examen. Así de rápido se llegó esto, ¿no? El jueves tenemos nuestro primer examen. Va a ser de las unidades, perdón, de la unidad 1. Ah, no, estoy mintiendo. Perdónenme. El examen se los pongo de 2 unidades, ¿verdad? Entonces todavía no. Olvídenlo. Pero lo que sí tenemos el jueves es dos actividades que me gustaría ponerles. Podemos ver el review para practicar un poquito con las tag questions y el past perfect. I think this is the one. Yeah. Y luego les voy a poner un Kahoot. Yo supongo que han jugado Kahoot antes. Ahí les va a pasar el código y todo. Se van a conectar y van a hacer el ejercicio. Tienen un límite de tiempo para contestar ciertas preguntas. Es como un mini quiz, ¿no? Entonces, pues a ver cómo les va, ¿sí? Entonces, es el repaso, es el Kahoot. Y también voy a pedirle a una persona que prepare una pequeña presentación de un tópico el que ustedes quieran. Yo les voy a dar algunas ideas, pero es hablar, por ejemplo, de mi mi película favorita, o mi género favorito de películas, o mi grupo favorito de música, o mi comida favorita. Estoy hablando de cosas que son fáciles, generales, porque ustedes lo van a exponer. No les voy a pedir que me expliquen las tendencias de la alza y la baja de las monedas según las fluctuaciones del mercado europeo, pero sí les voy a pedir que expliquen, por ejemplo, hi, my name is Mario, and I'm going to talk about, o sea, así de sencillo, Spider-Man, por decir algo. No es mi favorita, pero por decir un ejemplo. I like the movie Spider-Man because when I was a kid, I wanted to be Spider-Man. Estoy diciendo un ejemplo muy burdo de una presentación, pero puede ser de alguna tradición de tu familia, puedes contarnos de algún viaje que hiciste, puedes hablarnos de lo que tú quieras, ¿sí? Yo lo voy a, es solamente una persona, y esta dinámica voy a procurar hacerla una vez por cada que finalicemos unidad, una persona presenta, ¿sí? Para que a algunos les tocará repetir, para que más o menos nos empaten la cantidad de personas que tenemos y una presentación, ¿de acuerdo? Entonces, aquí hay 3 personas conectadas, pero pues el grupo es un poco más grande, entonces les voy a mandar la presentación y yo personalmente voy a buscar a uno de ustedes, a lo mejor ninguna de las que están aquí, a lo mejor alguien de las que no están o van a ver la clase grabada para presentar. ¿Sí? Les voy a mandar el mensajito hoy mismo un ratito más para que no las agarren curva mañana y sin tiempo de prepararse. Lo que quiero es que en su preparación, digo, en su presentación, se suelten un poquito se sientan cómodas, la practiquen, ¿sí? Para que, no, obviamente no les vamos a hacer preguntas así de que complicadas o que las pongan en una encrucijada o yo les ayudo, pero el chiste es presentarnos algo, ¿sí? Y que el resto participemos. Incluso si hay oportunidad, invito a alguno de mis amigos, ya sea Junior, Melissa o alguien que pueda de mis amigos conectarse y dar su presentación así en 10 minutos. La dejamos para el final de la clase. Entonces, be ready, ¿ok? Be ready because this is happening. Entonces, bueno, ya con eso cierro. No sé si tengan alguna pregunta o alguna duda, algún comentario hasta aquí.
Yo no.
Ok,
No.
muy bien. Entonces nos vemos si Dios quiere el jueves. ¿Sale? Descansen, que estén bien, que estén rico. Nos vemos el jueves. Chao.
Gracias, Mario.
Igual,
Bye.
bye.